Greetings, wise travelers of esoteric realms. Welcome to this haven of hidden knowledge, where the boundaries between the tangible and ephemeral fade away, and the ceaseless quest for truth unfolds like a cosmic dance. In this virtual temple, we shall unveil the immortal secrets that weave the fabric of the universe, delve into the deepest recesses of the human psyche, and challenge the narrow confines of conventional knowledge. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, an axiom that resonates as a sacred mantra, for in the authentic expression of will lies the essence of existence. To you, fearless explorers of this vast ocean of possibilities, I invite you to join us on this transcendental journey. To ensure you do not miss the fragments of cosmic wisdom we shall share, navigate to the sacred subscribe button below, and in doing so, activate the enigmatic notifications, securing our connection during the crucial moments of this esoteric pilgrimage. Prepare to transcend the veils of illusion, for the knowledge about to be unveiled is a light that challenges even the most intrepid minds. Before us unfolds this journey towards the enigma of being, like the pages of an ancestral grimoire. Follow me, O inquisitive souls, towards the unknown, where the secrets of the cosmos await unraveling. May the journey be as grand as the vastness of the universe we explore. Before the sinking of Atlantis, thousands of years before the Christian era, Egypt was a land of great truths. The hand of the Great White Brotherhood was extended to the Nile Empire, and the passages of the ancient pyramid resonated with the chants of the initiates. It was then that the pharaoh, now called half human and half divine, reigned in ancient Egypt. Pharaoh is the Egyptian word for king. Many of the later pharaohs were degenerates and of little importance, only the early pharaohs. Now we list among the priest kings and try to imagine for a moment the inscribed columns of the Great Hall of Luxor supported domes of solid granite, each column carved with the stories of the gods. There, at the upper end of the chamber, sat the pharaoh of the Nile in his state vestments. Around him were his counselors, chief among them the temple priest. An imposing spectacle was the gigantic frame of the later Atlantean clad in gold and jewels of inestimable value on his head, the crown of the north and south, the double empire of the ancients. On his forehead, the coiled serpent of the initiate, the serpent that was lifted up in the desert so that all who looked upon it might live. This urus represented the power of the dormant serpent in man, which coiled its head down around the tree of life, cast him out of the garden of the Lord, but which rose on the cross, became the symbol of Christ. The pharaoh was an initiate of Scorpio, and the serpent is the transmuted energy of Scorpio, which working upwards in the regenerated individual is called Kundalini. This serpent was the sign of initiation. It meant that within him the serpent had been raised to the tiara. The true pharaoh was a priest of God and also a master of men. He sat at the cube altar, indicating his mastery over the four elements of his physical body. As judge of the living and the dead, in his hand he carried the triple scepter of the Nile, the flail or whip, the shepherd's crook, and the staff led by Anubis. These were the symbols of his work. They represented the powers he had mastered. With the whip he had subjugated his physical body. With the shepherd's crook he was the guardian of his emotional body. With the staff led by Anubis he was the master of his mind, and worthy to exercise the powers of government over others because above all he himself obeyed the laws. With all his state vestments, with the scarab on his chest, and with the all-seeing eye above him on his throne, there was still nothing so precious or so sacred to the ancient Egyptian priest, king, as the belt or triangular apron, which was the symbol of his initiation. The apron of the ancient Egyptian gained with it the same symbolism as the Masonic apron of today. It symbolized the purification of the body when the seat of the lower emotions, Scorpio, was covered by the white sheepskin of purification. This symbol of his purification was the most precious belonging of the ancient arrow and of this simple insignia worn by many others below him in position and dignity. But equal to him in spiritual purification was the most precious of all things to the priest-king. There he sat enthroned, adorned with the symbols of his purification and dominion of a wise king over a wise people. And it was through these priest-kings for whom the divine worked. They were of the order of Melchizedek. Through them was formulated that doctrine whose degeneration was not able to obliterate entirely what we know as the divine right of kings. Divine because through spirituality and growth, God was able to manifest through them. They were conscious instruments in the hands of a ruler, ready, willing, and proud to do the work of those with whom, through knowledge and truth, they tuned. But the time came, and as in all nations, when selfishness and egoism entered into the hearts of kings and people. Likewise and slowly, the hand of the great white brotherhood that fed ancient Egypt was withdrawn, and the powers of darkness turned the land of glory into a land of ruins, and the names of the mighty kings were buried under the forgetfulness of degeneration. Mighty cataclysms shook the world, and from the land of darkness, the great white brotherhood led the few faithful to the promised land, Egypt. The land of glory crumbled into dust. The great temples of the pharaohs are ruins, and the temples of Isis are only broken mounds of sandstone. And the priest kings who worked thee in the days of their glory, they are still with us. For those who were leaders before are leaders now, if they continue to tread the path. Although their scepter has disappeared and their priestly vestments have been shaped, the priest-king still walks on the earth with the dignity, power, and childlike simplicity that made him great before, not wearing the vestments of his order anymore, though he has no credentials. He is both a priest-king now as before, for he still carries the true insignia of his order. Classification. The coiled serpent gave way to knowledge and love. The hand that bestowed the riches of the past now does small acts of kindness. Although he no longer carries the scepter of self-control, yet he manifests that mastery in his daily life. Although the altar fires inside the temple in Karak have long been extinguished, the true fire within him still burns, and before him he still bows, as he bowed in the days of the glory of Egypt. Although the priest is no longer his counselor, and the wise men of his country are no longer aiders, he in state trouble still he is never alone, for the priests of white and the counselors of blue still march with him and whisper words of strength. When he needs them, you did not see people whom somehow you instinctively liked. You did not see charming people whom, despite their charms, you did not like. You did not see learned people who were foolish or who impressed you as such. And there are those who, though unlearned, give us the instinctive impression that they are very wise. They have the insignia of great truth and love, which the loss of title or position cannot destroy. Kings with or without crowns, they were and still are kings and will be until the end of time. They still manifest their position not by their superiority and their high heads, but by the one quality they radiate from themselves. The purity of life and motive still radiates from those of old, who wore the apron of the initiate. For although that triangular apron with the serpent drawn on it has rotted away long ago, the spiritual counterpart of that symbol is still seen in the splendor of their daily lives, thus proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that as they were priest-kings, so they are today in every walk of life. We find them in high and low places, but wherever they are found, They are still the spokesmen of the gods, and through them comes the promise to all who seek. Kings, they are not of the earth but of heaven, and in the life of our own Master Jesus, we find one who joined those who served and who was a true king, even when his only crown was a crown of thorns. Still, in the invisible ether around the Giza pyramid, the initiations continue, yet the initiate receives the insignia of his position. Before that, fire within him, he makes his vows, and on the burning altar of his own higher self, he places his crown and his scepter, his vestments and his jewels, his hatreds and his fears, and sanctifies his life as a priest-king, and swears to serve no one but his own higher self, the God within. Embrace, O seekers of the arcane, the inevitable conclusion of our esoteric sojourn. As we part ways on this digital astral plane, remember the timeless truths that have been laid bare before you. Invoke me under my stars. Love is the law, love under will. Let not the fools confound love, for there is love and there is love. There is the dove and there is the serpent. Choose wisely. As we navigate the currents of existence, let the sacred flame of will guide your path through the labyrinth of experience. May your journey be marked by the alchemy of self-discovery and the illumination of hidden realms. In the words of the ancient mystics, the end of all is the beginning of all. Love is the law, love under will. So, dear companions of the mystical journey, until our energies entwine again in the cosmic dance, may your steps be sure, your heart steadfast, and your will unwavering. As we part ways in this ephemeral moment, remember the eternal truth. Love is the key and will is the master. Choose well, and may your voyage through the astral currents be filled with revelations and transcendence. Until the stars align once more, in the words of the mystic, invoke me under my stars.